I'm going to do today using e-journals during your reading language arts block. Another thing too is in fifth grade, and I don't know if you middle school teachers know this, but in fifth grade, we were responsible before for, as far as STAR goes, our reading, math, and science. Of course, we taught language, but we weren't responsible for the language portion in STAR. And then now this year, moving forward, we are. So we really had, so basically we're taking 4 tests. So we had to be sure that we were meeting their needs in the grammar
No, you
portion,
can
the
agree.
writing portion,
It's
and
writing is
responding
in
on it.
with reading.
Okay. So we started off our year organizing ourselves, knowing exactly what we needed to teach, looking at our TEKS and so forth. And then this is what helped us to really get organized in the writing portion because we hadn't been teaching the writing portion. We had been, but not to the STAR type. So we organized on Lead Forward. We looked at exactly what the kids were going to need to be writing. It was the informational text, the argumentative text. We really liked this as a checklist for us and for the students. The literary text, what are the components of it? The editing, capitalization, and so forth, everything, which the fourth and fifth grade are extremely similar, if not the same. Punctuation, spelling, and then the usage portion. So what was the grammar that we need to be sure that we were teaching in order to get them proficient in their writing? Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. So once we had all that together, then we were like, okay, we need to still make this as interactive as possible so that we're meeting all of their learning styles. And our reading block always starts off with our spelling, which we break down our words. We look at so many words a day. We look at vowel combinations, endings, prefixes, all of that type of stuff. And then we'd move into the language portion. We'd start off with our interactive journal where we would cut and paste. We'll cut and paste into our interactive journal. We'll make sentences together. We'll use sentence strips. We'll do however it is that we're going to do the interactive portion of our journal in order to get the skills to the students. And then they also have their journal to reference back to as they're writing. So it's kind of like their working document, or I kind of call it like their dictionary of skills or whatever that they're using as they're writing all week long. So you'll see on the site some of the different foldables or things that we've put into their into their interactive journal so that they have the steps in the process for writing. And then I added in here some of our writing journals that we did. One of the first ones that we started with, and gosh, let me see what I want to start with you. I'm going to start with this one, which is a writing lesson e-journal. This one I presented to our campus last school year. And this one was in January, and you're going to see that it's pretty simple in the slides, only because I wanted it to be friendly for the lower grades and the teachers could change it as they need to, or the upper grades. This story is a red sled. In this story, there's actually no words in it. It's just onomatopoeia words. So it's telling the story through onomatopoeia words. So our skill that week was, this was in January. So this was after having done complete sentences, the predicate, the subject and the predicate, and the all the different things that go into the sentence building. This week we were working on onomatopoeia words in our reading as well. So they read the sound word and they had to tell me what was happening in this on this page with the onomatopoeia word. So working on recognizing what the word is describing. A couple of slides of that. Then we added some dialogue. What are the animals saying? So here, this was after we've already learned quotation marks and commas, where the tag would be at the beginning or the middle or the end of the dialogue. And then the kids were adding dialogue here to what would the animals be saying if they were speaking in in the text. So the stories we start off on Monday with listening to the story. And then as we're working along throughout the week, this is a work in progress for the week, then they can go back to listen to the story as they're working on their writing, or they can just go straight to their writing, however they need to do to complete it. This is a show, don't tell. So they're rewriting their sentence to show, not tell what the reader is saying. So adding in the visualization words, describing what was happening in that particular scene. And then they're going to get ready to do their own writing. So this is by Wednesday. Your turn to write. Let's get organized. So definitely our senses words for visualization. What are some things you're going to see in your story? What are some things you're going to hear, feel, taste, or smell? And then Thursday and Friday is the writing. So get creative. They're going to start writing their story then. They are sitting with a partner when they're doing this writing. At the beginning of the year, I am up at my on Canvas, so they all have their own slides on Canvas, and then I'm up at my smartboard filling in. Definitely at the beginning of the year, it's a lot of modeling. I'm doing my writing while they're doing their writing. So then they not only have the mentor text that's guiding their writing, but they also have my story that's guiding their writing. So focusing on so that they're just focusing on their spelling, on their sentence, that it makes sense, that they've got their punctuation there, and that it's flowing. They'll have stopping points where they'll stop and share with their partner, and partner and will edit with them. I'm going around and conferencing as they're writing so that I can conference with them as well, so I can start correcting some of the spelling and grammar errors as they're writing. 2 slides for writing, and then they love, absolutely love, they love to draw, and they love to do it on Google Slides. They design your scene to go with the narrative. They can change the background image and add clip art and speech balloons. This is what they absolutely love. So this is kind of the icing on the writing, because they love to bring their writing to then where people can actually see it instead of just visualizing it in the writing. I do want to say though, this is in January, so this took a lot of work getting to that point of them writing on their own. So these are just some other examples that I have. Quotation marks, I'm going to go down to the Great Escape. So this was the week that we started working on quotation marks. And we'll start off on Monday by watching the video. It's a cute little story. I do this at Thanksgiving time. And this is a cutest story about some kids going on a field trip. And you know, the story is a lower level, but it doesn't matter that it's at 5th grade because they enjoy the read aloud. They enjoy the story, and that really is what guides their writing. So this is a story about a teacher that takes the children on a field trip to a farm. And the farmer talks about the turkeys getting ready to be used for Thanksgiving dinner. And so they go through a great escape where they save the turkeys. We'll watch a video on quotation marks. On Monday, we're going to do some cutting and pasting and do our interactive journal. On Tuesday, we're going to do I'll put some slides up, and we'll write some dialogue for that slide. So they're doing that in their interactive journal as well. They might do it on sentence strips and present it. And so each day we're working on quotation marks. And then each day they're going to independently, or with their partner independently, they're going to start working on their story. So this would be Tuesday. They're going to select a turkey clip art. You're going to select a farmer clip art. You're going to select another animal that's going to help you escape. So it's really mirroring the read aloud, but also adding their own into it.
Excuse me.
And then
I'm sorry.
go right
We
ahead.
do have a question that came in through the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And so Yvonne asked, so in the beginning for modeling, do you have their own copy to work on?
Yes, yes. So I don't know if your district uses Canvas, but we use Canvas in SAISD. And Canvas, what I really like about it, and it was a lot to learn about it, but what I really like about Canvas is that when I assign it on Canvas, then the children get their own copies. So when they open it up on Canvas, they have their own slides already ready for them. And then I've got my slides that I'm doing on my smartboard. So when I'm writing, it's not at all messing with their slides. When they're writing, it's not messing with anybody else's slides. Does that make sense? Okay. But keep in mind that I really want to reiterate that every day of the week, I'm working on quotation marks in their interactive journal. We're doing a mini lesson on quotation marks, or our lesson on it. And then independently, they're working on their writing. But at the beginning of the year, independently, while I'm modeling it up on my board. once I get to the point that I don't need to model as much, then I'm walking around and conferencing with them as they're working on their writing. And I'll do a lot of boys and girls, listen to this one. Let me share this one with you real quick. And I'll read what they're writing so that they kind of get ideas from each other as they're writing. So here on this one, they're to write a story using the clip art you selected, speech balloons and quotation marks, and make it an exciting story. So on, let's say this is Tuesday or Wednesday, they're going to do the beginning of their story. So that's where we're meeting our characters, we're starting to set up the conflict, and all of their writing is going to be in speech balloons dialogue. The
I'm
kids,
sorry
this is in,
to interrupt you one more time. We had another question
sure,
from Jessica,
yes.
and she's asking, so are these just slide deck assignments, or do they have a working e-journal that they can refer to throughout the year?
This is it. This on Canvas, this is their working e-journal. Good question. So on Canvas, this is their slides and it's going to stay up. I don't close the slides, so they'll be up for the whole week, of course. And then at the end of each day, they're going to click submit. So I can really quickly go through on Canvas and look at everybody's work that they did for the day. And I can send back a comment to them on Canvas, letting them know good job, or be careful with your punctuation, or look at your tags, make sure they're in the correct spot. So it's really nice because there's a lot of communication. Or I can just show them up on my smartboard really quick, just pick a few students and go through it. And then we can revise and edit as a class through it, of course, with the kids' permission to put it up. But they're always proud to show their work. Um, so we'll do it up on the smartboard. But yes, it's their working document. Even if they click submit, the next day they open it up, work on it again, and click submit at the end of the day or at the end of that session.
We do
So
have another question that just came in. I'm sorry.
yes.
Uh,
Mhm.
and they're asking, would it be possible to see how the integration between the Google Slides and
Yes,
Canvas, I'm
I
sorry.
how Canvas works, definitely. So I'll show you. I actually, on my next slide, when I show reading, I have a video that shows how to post onto Canvas, and then I'll open up my Canvas in a bit so you can see it.
Perfect, thank
So
you.
thank you for asking that. Okay, so the kids get really, really good at this. Now you're going to have your kids that are your struggling ones, which your special eds, the ones that need the differentiated learning, and then you're got your ones that are going to just take off. One of the questions came in yesterday is how do the kids learn to type? And it's really just getting in there and doing it. We do have something on single sign-on from the district that's a typing lesson, and the kids will work on that whenever there's free time, but it's really just moving through it. I call them my secretaries because you hear the as they're typing on there, or you hear the chicken. So just getting comfortable with their keyboard. And that's what third and fourth are really trying to work on as well, is they're responding to text. Actually, we'd like everybody, first K through, to do some responding to text on Canvas, but definitely third and fourth and second would be nice as well. Alrighty, so if you just go through the slides, you'll see here, and I did share this I shared the link for all of this for my slides in the chat, the rising action. So at this point, we've already really familiar with the plot chart, and the kids are working on this. What I was gonna say, my stronger students are even gonna add in transitions. They're gonna get really good, and they're gonna add in transitions where they have the turkey coming in and the turkey running off and the farmer coming in after him, or things dropping from the top or so forth. So it's just learning. And we spent so much time in August and September learning all of the things that you can do with Google Slides. And I use Google Slides in my science and my social studies in all of my subjects. So it's constantly learning how to use Google Slides, transition, color change, the animation, all of that. So this is just the turning point, the climatic moment, and then the resolution, how it was solved. So that's kind of, they're working on a slide every day, and then we're going through and making, so you have your reading and your writing combined, your reading skills. Okay, are we good still? So I have a lot of other writings here. It's already at 10:28, so I want to be sure that I can get to the writing. But I have Dear Diary. This one was where it was a mentor text of an animal that was writing a diary. And then that week we were working on writing friendly letters. And so the kids we were working on, that was not friendly letter, I'm sorry, working on just writing a story narratives. And so then they were doing their own Dear Diaries that week. This one's a really cute one, How to Wash a Woolly Mammoth. And I'm hoping that the sixth grade teachers and so forth could see how this could be used in your upper grades as well. This is a procedural writing. It's a real cute story about a little girl that's bathing her woolly mammoth and the steps that she goes in the process. So then every day they had their own writing to do afterwards and include pictures and clip art for your steps. Make your writing humorous and engaging. Your main character must be an animal or a fictional character. And they had an agenda. So this one was how to get to school on time. What are we doing? When are we doing it? And who's responsible? So then their clip art would go here, and then their writing, the steps in the process would go here. Then we had how to make perfect toast for breakfast, how to play tic-tac-toe. This one was just a kind of a silly one, how to drive a car, how they thought they would drive a car. If they had a really hard issue with that, then we changed it to riding a bicycle. And then how to find your missing shoe. Okay, and then just to kind of keep them engaged in their writing, I also tried to add in some stuff that they like, and this was towards the end of the year. This might have been in April, and this is a story about a little boy wanting to learn his own dance move. They're going to get together at Grandpa's for his birthday, and Grandpa gives nicknames to everybody, and he wants to get his own nickname, and the nicknames go with whatever they're really good at. So he wants to learn how to get his own dance moves. So then I incorporated, of course, their social media. And so we did an Instagram writing this week. So use clip art to create a post about your family picture, write a caption about your family telling us a little bit about each member. So their picture would go here and their writing would go here. And then each day they would be doing a different one. Family on a Saturday, family's favorite holiday, your future career. So this is one of them already doing their career. And then just for fun on the last day, we learned the electric slide. So luckily Coach was doing it in PE as well. So they were pretty good at it. So many others here. Let me see. Dr. Goat's Valentine. Oh, this one was combining sentences. So this week we were working on fanboys and combining sentences. This is about Mr. Goat looking for his Valentine. I look for things online. I look for slides I can add in. You look for freebies that I can take or worksheets that I can turn into a slide. And that's what I did with this one. So it's just kind of a drag and drop, adding in the conjunction that best fits the sentence. And then these are actual pictures from the book. And it said, write 2 sentences about the picture, use a coordinating conjunction and a comma to combine the sentences. So that's what this was. I had some cards that I had purchased or either got as freebies. You know, Teachers Pay Teachers, you can get lots of freebies. And I added them in. So that might be day 1, day 2, day 3, and so forth. Or I might assign them to do 4 slides a day. I'm just combining the sentence. So you can see how we're doing the writing and the grammar together. All right. We did adjectives, stregonona. Oh, sorry. I went 1 slide over. Stregonona. And just real quick, this week we were working on adjectives. So there were a couple questions to get them organized for their writing. They were going to write a story about a genie granting someone 3 wishes, organize their writing, and then the same thing, the first wish. So their picture and their text and their second wish, picture and text and third wish. So it's just kind of guiding the fluent, how fluent the story would go. And I wanna. This one is early in the year, persuasive writing. This one's a story about a little boy that wants an iguana and how he's going to convince his parents to get him one. And could you try to convince your parents that you want? What pet would you love to get? What would you like to have? Why would you like to have this pet? Then what is a pet? Do a little bit of research about what are the pros and cons to having this pet, and then start writing. Write a letter to your parents, trying to convince them to get you the pet. Make another slide if you need one. And here's the other slide for them. So this is definitely a lot of me conferencing, you know, me walking around and and working with their partners. They definitely have to have someone before they click submit that's going to look at their writing for the day, and they're going to revise and edit together. And then of course I'm going to go look at it real quickly at the end of the day and make my own comments about what needs to be corrected or what looks good or what's working well. But so much work went into this at the beginning of the year and throughout the year to get them where they needed to be. So are there any questions on the writing before we go to reading? We're good.
So do you have separate I guess notebooks for reading and for writing, or are they all
Yes, I
combined
do.
together?
So we have all our interactive journals for all of our subjects, and I have one as well as the students that I'm working on my Elmo. So we're getting them ready for middle school, and in middle school they'll be doing Cornell notes. So we do a lot of note taking in fifth grade as well, so that they are comfortable with note taking. But it's a lot of following our notes, whereas in middle school they'll do the Cornell notes where they're going to add their own thinking into it. But yes, I do have my own interactive journal, and it really works well because if someone's absent, then they know the next day to come in, get my interactive journal to see what they missed. They'll have their cut and paste, whatever they need to add in, so that they'll catch up for the day. Okay, this is our reading. So I'm a firm believer of, and luckily our administration has been amazing with helping us do this at Arnold, but I'm a firm believer of authentic text. So throughout the year, the kids are always going to have a novel in their hand. Our reading, I'll start off with our mini lesson, whatever our skill is for that week. We'll work on it we'll do our anchor chart in our interactive journal. We'll have a mini lesson, and then we'll get into our novel where they're working on skills. So we've been fortunate enough that many of these books we got through Scholastic. You know how they have their dollar days or their $2 month buys, and we'll order them through Scholastic, or admin at the end of the year will always have money set aside so we can at least order another class set of one title at least for the following year. So these are all amazing books that we've done throughout the year. I do start off, especially since these are our gap kids, and these are our kids that came in with missing a year and a half of, I guess you would say, real school. And so I have different levels in my classroom, like everybody does, and so we start off with a mid fourth grade level because I don't want to worry so much with the actual reading, the word reading. I want to instantly start them off with recognizing the comprehension. That word reading is just calling words, but understanding what you're reading is reading. And so we start off with Saving Winslow, super easy book. It's a middle of fourth grade reading level. They all have a copy of their book in hand, and they're strategically placed with partners. I'll start off with my mini lesson. Since this is the first novel we do, I put my mini lesson into it. So this is already chapter 10 through 12. So we've already gone on our plot chart through getting to know our characters, and we're in our rising action. We've already know our conflict, but now we're just going through all the rising action of the conflict. And so this week we were working on the different types of conflicts that there are. And this is, I'm going to put it in present so you can see it how the students see it. So I'm talking to them as we're going through it. We're reviewing what happened the day before in the novel, talking about how the conflict's developing. And then these are just little bitty passages that we've gotten from all over the place. This is actually a reading series that we used 2 reading series ago. And we love the little passage because it was a real simple one, but good enough to meet the skills that we needed. I also didn't tell you, but our bilingual classes, our dual language and our monolingual classrooms mirror each other. So we try to make sure that all of our mini lessons are exactly the same. So if admins walking around or whatever, that we're all on the same page and we're all working on the same thing at the same time. So this story is exactly the same in the Spanish one. And then I'm going to walk them through them on clicks. I'll read it, we'll talk about it, and then we'll walk through clicks, talking about the different components of the reading. So it's fictional, it's in third person. We're getting to know the characters and setting the problem here, the conflicts person versus person, and the resolution. And then we'll talk about the qualities. just kind of guiding the flow of the story. And then at this point, we've already talked about theme as well in our mini lessons. So then they'll start they'll read they were reading, I believe, 2 chapters, right? Yeah, they were. They were reading 2 chapters. So as they're doing this, at the beginning of the year, I do many modeling of me reading with a partner. I have anchor charts up that show what your reading partner should look like, how we should be ear to ear, and how we should be on the same page. And we'll talk about stopping points. Are we going to stop at each chapter, or are we? I want to look at my time real quick. I'm sorry. Uh, are we stopping at the end of the page? We also do a lot of modeling of turn and talk partner. So if I'm with a partner and I'm reading, oh my, you'll hear the conversations of, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, or oh, they did that, or oh, no wonder they did this, or no wonder she said that. We're really working on the partner talk because we want to have good conversation about it so that we're building comprehension. Once I assign the reading for the day, then I'm at my round table with a small group, working on whatever skill my different tiered students need. I'll work with my special eds for a little bit before they take off down to the special ed classroom, where she's also going to be working on the novel depending on what levels she has in her room, or if she's going to be working on lower level reading with them. Okay, and then they get to the questions. You're going to notice that this one's definitely at the beginning of the year, so it's going to be a lot of go find it questions, not a lot of the deeper inferencing and so forth, because I really want them to get good at going back and finding evidence, proving what they know as the answer. And then we're really working on complete sentences here. So it's a lot of why, what, how, so forth. And then their partner talking. So at the beginning of the year, I'm going to be up at my Canvas on my smartboard, and we're going to talk, when they get to the questions, we're going to talk about it, and they're going to pop up answers. Okay, let's make that into a 5th grade answer. Let's make that into a complete sentence. And so then I'm typing at the beginning and they're typing on theirs as well. And we'll talk about how your answer doesn't have to exactly be written exactly like mine, but that it should be a complete answer. And then they'll get to the point where you'll hear them talking to each other about, no, let's write it this way, or let's say this. So just some more what, whose, and then just to connect to the text, how would you handle the situation if you were Louis? So that's a beginning of the yearbook. We go to this one, which is my absolute favorite. This is the end of 4th grade reading level. And this one's Totally Disgusting. Totally Disgusting is an amazing book about character building and motivation, what motivates the character to do what they do, whether it's good or whether it's bad, and the turning point. This is a really good narrative for that. So once again, their partner reading by this second novel, because the first novel takes us a good, I think, 18 weeks to get through or so forth. I believe so. Maybe, yeah, between 12 to 16 weeks to get through. And then once they're on this novel, then once I'm finished with my small group, then I'm ready to start walking around and conferencing. So as they're reading their novel with their partner and they're doing the turn and talk, and I am correcting behaviors, constantly correcting what partnering should look like and doing the whole kudos to the partners that are looking really good. So they start trying to mirror each other in the other partner groups. I do what I call commercial breaks as well. So when I'm walking around and I'm listening to them read, I'm listening to them discuss. If I see that it's going off track, then I'll do commercial break, boys and girls, and then I'll get everybody's attention back on me and let's talk about what's happening here. What are we seeing? So I'm kind of guiding the thinking again to get them back on track. Or if I hear something really good and I want the rest of the class to hear it to kind of drive then their thinking, then I'll do a commercial break. Guess what I just heard over here, boys and girls? La 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 la. How many of y'all were thinking that? Or how many of y'all see that? And I also have my anchor chart with what evidence looks like, so that when they're responding to text, they're using the stems for the evidence, because the author said, or because on page this, or I know this because, just different stems to use as they're referring to text. Because on STAR now, they're going to have to do the extended writing where they're finding evidence for their answers. So still kind of simpler questions, not getting too heavy yet. The occasional, well, describe, so that they're visualizing what they're seeing as well. So any questions yet? Doing okay?
We're doing good.
All right. So then I do want to show you the mini lesson. So this is a mini lesson for the week. And after the first book, I have all the mini lessons built into the chapter. After the first book, we start having we have mini lessons outside of the chapter. So, and these go on throughout the week. So that week we were working on plot, characters, and point of view. It was early in the year. And on Monday, we're going to make our anchor chart. We're going to discuss it. We're going to look through this and talk about the different parts of it, so forth. And then I'm going to go through this. This is all on clicks, like I showed you a while ago. So we'll read it together and we'll click through. Do some questions. There'll be some pop-up answers. I might have their whiteboards out where they're talking with their partner about the answer and raising their whiteboards when they have an answer, just depending on how I'm doing for time or where we are in the lesson, if it's something that needs more time. Okay, and then this will be Tuesday. So once again, then we'll look at plot. We'll move through in our mini lesson. We got another little story. Wednesday and so forth. Thursday and so forth. And then just to kind of show you how we want everything to be the same across the grade level, we've got it in Spanish. It's a dual language, actually. So it's the same story, but in Spanish and so forth. Took a lot of work, you guys, but once we got it, and that's what we keep telling ourselves, once we get it, then it's there and we just can keep creating, and we've got a whole library of things to use. So the one and only Ivan, we did 10:45. The one and only Ivan, you'll start to see that it starts to get the questioning. This chapter is the beginning of Ivan's journey as a caregiver. I can't wait to see how Ivan is going to fulfill this promise or not. So I did scan in one sheet because it was an important part of the book. And then they'll start to do context clues. We'll do a little more of on page this, go find this. We're using our sentence stems that we've gotten from Lead Forward to guide our writing of our questions. On page 117, just like you would see, and we talk about this all the time. Have you seen the STAR question like this before? And then use these words to write what you think George was saying to Mac at this moment in the text. And then compare and contrast how Ivan and Mucus felt responsible for someone. So Ivan and Mucus was my character from Totally Disgusting. Ivan's my new main character, and they have similar problems. They have the similar conflict of what their responsibility is for someone else. So here they're doing a comparing and contrasting of the two characters, just like we would do on STAR. Okay. How to Steal a Dog is in here as well. I'm going to go to this one real quick so I can show you what they had to do on this one. Okay, on this slide that day, it was write one question, a page number to find the answer, and an answer for each question. So I said, it's your turn to come up with questions. The first time we did this, scared the heck out of them. Then they just got so much better because everybody's so competitive that they want to come up with good questions. And here we would be popping out questions. Who has a who question? Oh, that's an amazing one. Who can give me a better one, or who can match that, or whatever? And then they just start coming up with questions just like I would do. And then the evidence of the page where it would be found and the answer. And then I did go ahead and throw in a quote that I wanted them to understand. So inferencing, using context clues to understand what the author was saying, the character was saying. This is a new one that we did. We do this one during Black History Month. Love this book. This one's Stumptown Kid. This is chapter 18. So we're already getting to know the characters really well. Conflict set, rising action. And this week we were working on summary. And so use clip art and the images. So every day we're working on summary. Every day we're using graphic organizers. We're creating summaries every day in our mini lesson. And then this day, after they finish their chapter reading, and you'll notice that well, you can't see, but this chapter is pretty lengthy. So we're working on stamina and the chapters are starting to get longer. Use clip art and the images to help you create the scene to match what's happening. So clip art, using these clip arts over here, and then writing the beginning, the middle, and the end of the chapter. Every day they're going to click submit, and then I'll be able to see their work. Okay. So Stumptown, I just added in 2 Stumptowns so y'all could see it. This one was interactions. The relationship between the characters consists of the words, actions, and thoughts they have with or without about each other. So tell me what happened between these 2 characters. So this chapter was a really explosive one. So what happened between Mom and Charlie? And what did they discuss? What's the conflict? And how will they fix that situation? And then 2 other characters in this chapter and 2 other characters in this chapter. And then the last one, this was a new one that we did. I had a student teacher and she did this as her ending of her student teaching. This was a brand new one this year, and this one is called Blended. It's a blended family, but it's also an interracial family. And so the last one was set way back in time, and gosh, I can't even remember the year right now. And this one's a current story. So same thing. Her questions look a little different than mine, but it was her project. And then she did a diagram. How are they similar and different, the 2 characters in the story? This one, she did a lot of mirrors and windows. So how do you see yourself like the character, and how do you see yourself different from the character? And then she had her exit ticket. So, alrighty. So here I did put a video on how to post a Canvas, and I'm going to go to my dashboard real quick so you can see what our Canvas looks like. Okay, this was this is our Canvas. So they have all of their modules here, their language arts and so forth. When I assign something to them, so they've got in here their writing. Here's the Valentine goat. So when they open it up, here's their copy. So they're going to click on here, and this is my copy, but it's exactly what it would look like on the students, right? So then I can be working on mine while they're working on theirs at their desk. And then this is my speed grader, where then once they click submit, then I can see what they submitted and what their work looks like. And then I can send them a comment. So, let me see what else. And then just to kind of show you how it's all in here. The language arts, and then their novel. The last novel we did was Just a Dog. And any math that I put in, and their science journals as well. Destructive Forces, I have my e-journals in here. We still do our interactive journals, but I've got my e-journals in here so that they're doing some drag and drop, and they're typing in answers and so forth, just to kind of get them ready for STAR and all of that. So